Rabbi Kelemer was one of the best rabbis ever that I've known in my 8 years of living. He was like a great person, and that he did a lot of stuff for like the shul, and he was a very good rabbi. Kind and thoughtful.
He was like really loving, and whenever like you ask him a question, he would give you an answer with such nachas.
He was such a humble man.
I think of Torah and mitzvos. A really nice rabbi who always has answers and is very nice to kids.
He's a very special and nice person. Very nice person that has a lot of mitos to share.
Generous and nice.
Simcha. He's caring and nice.
For like the other people, and he always like thinks about other people, not really himself.
Thinks about other people.
A big tzaddik. Knew like a lot of Torah and was very humble. He always gave me candy. When people asked him questions, he would always give answers.
My dad was very good friends with him, and we were very sad when he passed away.
On Rosh Hashanah once, Rabbi Kelemer came to my house and he he gave us oodles, and he asked my family a question, and he asked if we know why we dip the apple particularly in the honey on Rosh Hashanah.
Whenever we go on Simchas Torah, Rabbi Kelemer is there with all the kids, and in the middle of Hempstead Avenue, we bang on the bima, and we have so much fun.
Simchas Torah, when we were singing and dancing with the Torah, he had such a big smile on his face. Such a big smile, and it was such a nachas to see.
When I was little, Rabbi Kelemer gave me candy, and I had to say Gamizula Tova.
So when my little sister was born, it was Pesach, and my mom forgot to order like special Pesach like chocolates or candy or anything like that. And Rabbi Kelemer, he dropped off these little mini chocolates, and my mom was so thankful that he dropped off these chocolates.
3 years ago on Sukkot, we were with our cousins in the sukkah, and we heard a knock at the door, and we were like, who was that? And it was Rabbi Kelemer, and he gave lollipops to all the children.
One thing I remember that Rabbi Kelemer did is once me and my brother were going out somewhere for Shabbos, and it was a long walk, and we were sad, and then Rabbi Kelemer was on the other side of the street, and he saw that we were sad, and then he crossed the street and gave us a lollipop.
Me and my brother were walking, and then we saw Rabbi Kelemer, and then my brother asked, what are you doing here? Because it was on the other side of town. And then he said he's going to visit. He said he's going to visit someone. My brother called him like a big tzaddik, and then he said thank you, but I'm not. And then I'm not really such a big tzaddik, and it was not such a long walk.
My favorite memories with Rabbi Kelemer is, first of all, every Shabbos he would always give out candy, and he was just so nice. Like, sometimes if you didn't like the candy, he would always look for another candy. I really liked that he always had a smile on his face. He never argued. He was always happy. No matter what was happening to him, he never was sad. And whenever somebody else was near him, he always just made them happier.
Once he was giving me, my sister and my brother candy after he answered a parsha question. Then he gave us a bonus question, and then I got it right. And then he still gave it to, he gave me extra, and he also gave my brother and my sister. The question was, I was like 7. The question was, who did Yosef get sold to? And the answer is Potiphar.
I remember when Rabbi Kelemer used to always say Good Shabbos to me.
Then I shook his hand Good Shabbos, and he gave me a candy.
In that show, he wanted to give people lollipops, so he wanted to give me one, but he gave it to somebody else. So instead, he gave me a Rabala. At Shul, I went to the water fountain to get a drink, and then he asked me what's so special about water. I didn't say anything. He told me to tell him a different day, but
One time, I asked him a question because my rabbi didn't explain it. I didn't really get it, and he just explained it for me.
He would answer all my questions.
Well, I've asked him a lot of questions. He answered every single one of them with every single detail.
So one Shabbos, me and my dad were trying to get a minyan, and downstairs, someone comes up from downstairs, and they said, "We need a child. We need a child." So they got me, and the Baal Koreh found he couldn't figure out what the letter was in the Torah. So he says, Rabbi Kelemer says, okay, we need a kid. If the kid knows what it is, it's a good Torah. If the kid doesn't know what it is, it's a bad Torah. We have to start all over again. We have to start the Parsha all over again. So I went downstairs. I looked at the Torah, and he said, Rabbi Kelemer says to me, he put his arms over me, and he said, "What letter is this?" And I said, "Oh, that looks like a mem, Rabbi." And he says, "Okay, so it's a mem."
I love seeing Rabbi Kelemer because he gives me a lot of stuff to think about, and it just makes me want to do more midot and more mitzvos. Rabbi Kelemer taught my dad for about 2 months, around there, and then he taught everything to his students and now me. And that's just what I love.
So I'd just like to share with you a very special story about Rabbi Kelemer and his dedication to everyone in the West Hempstead community and to people in general. When my grandfather passed away, the funeral was in Florida, and while my mother was sitting Shiva in Florida, all of a sudden, one day we hear a knock at the door, and my mother goes to answer the door, and who is at the door? It is none other than Rabbi Kelemer himself. And what's so amazing and special about this Shiva call and about what Rabbi Kelemer did is that Rabbi Kelemer never flew on planes. From a younger age, he had an ear problem that took place on one of the flights that he went on, and he, at that point, never went on a plane again. He drove the 22 hours to go pay a Shiva call to my mother in Florida upon the loss of her father and my grandfather, and it was truly one of the greatest acts of kindness that I have ever witnessed and seen in my entire life. But this is just who Rabbi Kelemer was. It was what he embodied. He would do it for anybody. He would literally make sure that if something was wrong, he would help you, he would take care of it for you, and he would do whatever he could to make you have a better day.
Rabbi Kelemer means everything to me. He has done so much through the years to help me in my personal life, and I miss him every day.
Rabbi Kelemer was someone who could connect to anybody on his or her own level. It doesn't matter if you were older, younger, a child, a grown-up, whoever you were, he was able to bring out the best in you and relate to you on your own level.
Growing up in West Hempstead, I always knew I could count on Rabbi Kelemer for anything, any question that I had. And years later, when I came back and I was privileged enough to teach at HANC, he was continued to be available to me for anything that I ever needed. One of my favorite lines that he wrote to me once in an email was, "May you have nachas from your kids and nachas from your many kids, your students."
Rabbi Kelemer, whatever I say will not be enough, but what I can say is on a weekly basis, I think about a student and how I can help them, and I go to pick up the phone to call him, and he's not there. And don't think it's such a simple thing to call him. When I wanted to, there were 4 different phone numbers, and each one led to him, but through a circuitous path. And oftentimes, I would call the wrong one. So when he finally called me back, there was a tremendous level of achievement. One, that I would have the best support that anyone could want, and 2, that I dialed the right number. Rabbi Kelemer, we miss you.
Rabbi Kelemer's smile warmed my heart. His knowledge ignited my thoughts. His warmth made me feel like I was the only one in the room. And he is sorely missed. May his neshama have an aliyah.
He was very devoted to HANC. He came to the open houses, and he was very supportive to all that we do here. And I know that every time you make someone smile, you help someone, you do any kind of chesed, then you are honoring Rabbi Kelemer in doing so. So I feel he's still here with us. And I think that when we learn Torah and we do acts of chesed, we are continuing his legacy.
I felt secure because I knew Rabbi Kelemer was a good person, and he was always there for people.
Just because I like being around him.
Happy.
Happy. Happy.
Happy.
Happy.
Happy.
Really happy.
He made me feel like super happy. He just puts a smile on everybody's face.
But